If you're on a fixed income relying on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, Virginia, or any type of retirement benefits, then you've probably been asking the same question millions of others are asking right now in 2025. What's going on with the fourth stimulus check? Are we actually going to get it? Is that $1,400 payment real this time? With prices still painfully high and many of you struggling just to keep up, it's a question that deserves a clear, honest answer. So that's exactly what this video is going to give you. No hype, no political spin, just the truth about where we are, what's happening behind the scenes in Washington, and what has to occur before another round of payments can become reality. You'll want to stick around to the end because I'll break down exactly who could benefit, under what conditions this check could be triggered, and why it's not a matter of if, but when. Let's be clear. If you're receiving Social Security, SSDI, SSI, or veterans benefits, you are the ones who've been hit the hardest over the last few years. Inflation may have slowed slightly, but it hasn't reversed. Rent is still high, groceries aren't getting cheaper, and medical costs remain a burden. And while your benefits may technically be going up a little each year thanks to COLA, what they actually buy you is shrinking. That $900 or $1,100 a month might have been manageable a few years ago, but today, it's barely covering essentials. So it makes perfect sense that so many of you are still asking, where is the help? Where's the support for people who truly need it most? Here's exactly what you're going to gain by watching this video until the end. You'll find out the truth about recent $1,400 payments that went out earlier this year, why those are not part of a new stimulus package, and the actual economic conditions that would trigger another check. I'll also explain why it's possible a new round could happen under this Congress despite political gridlock, and how you can stay informed so you're not misled by rumors or hype. If you're waiting for real money, you deserve real answers. Before we jump into all the details, just take a moment to support this effort. If you appreciate clear, honest updates like this one, consider subscribing. That way you'll never miss a critical financial development. And if this video helps you, share it with someone else you know who's struggling and looking for the truth. Now let's address the $1,400 check that's been making headlines and flooding the comment sections. Back in January of this year, the IRS did in fact send out $1,400 payments to about 1 million people. But here's the truth. Those weren't new stimulus checks. They were catch-up payments for people who never claimed their third stimulus check from years ago. The IRS had been sitting on unclaimed funds, and through updated systems, they were able to track down people who were still owed money. These were not new checks and not connected to a fourth stimulus package. That's an important distinction because there's been a lot of confusion online about what that distribution meant. That confusion is totally understandable, especially when headlines just say $1,400 checks going out without the context. But I want to be 100% clear with you. There is no approved fourth stimulus check as of today. However, that doesn't mean it's impossible. In fact, there are signs that the conversation might be coming back, especially if the economic conditions shift the way many experts believe they will. Let's look at the facts. Over the last few years, we've seen record inflation, the Federal Reserve raising interest rates aggressively, and wages not keeping up with the cost of living. For seniors and low-income Americans on fixed benefits, this hasn't just been uncomfortable, it's been devastating. The economy might look strong on paper with job numbers and GDP growth, but real people are still living paycheck to paycheck, or benefit payment to benefit payment. That disconnect between economic data and lived experience is a big part of why stimulus gets back on the table during downturns. So, where are we in 2025? A lot has changed. We have a new administration, a newly formed 119th Congress, and full Republican control of the House and Senate. Whether you see that as good or bad depends on your views, but historically, both parties have approved stimulus checks during economic emergencies, regardless of who's in power. Remember, in 2020 and 2021, both parties passed multiple stimulus packages. Over $1,800 in direct checks went out during that time, under different leadership, and despite partisan differences. The point is this: when the economy demands it, stimulus checks can happen. It's not about which party is in charge, it's about what the economy is doing. And that brings us to the real trigger for any new payment: economic pain. Washington doesn't respond to public pleas, they respond to financial pressure. When Wall Street, large corporations, and key economic indicators show a downturn, that's when stimulus becomes a serious discussion again. It's not fair, but that's the way the system works. Right now, we're starting to see signs of economic weakening. Some job reports have missed expectations, consumer spending is slowing down, the housing market has begun to cool in some areas, and if unemployment ticks up and corporate earnings shrink, that's when Congress starts looking at stimulus options, not because people are begging for help, but because the economy itself is asking for life support. You don't need to monitor every economic report. That's what I'm doing here for you. But just know that the Federal Reserve is already preparing to cut interest rates instead of raising them. That's a big deal. When rates are cut aggressively, it often signals trouble. It also opens the door to emergency financial relief packages. In the past, this exact pattern has led directly to stimulus check approvals. Now, let's get real about what kind of stimulus check is most likely. If the economy contracts sharply, we're more likely to see targeted checks, perhaps focused on people earning under a certain threshold or those on federal benefit programs like SSI, SSDI, Virginia, or low income retirees. Just like before, these would be tax credits in the form of advance payments. Whether it would be $1,400 again is unclear, but that number continues to come up because it's familiar and politically popular. Lawmakers already know how to structure it. The IRS has systems in place from the last round. It wouldn't be difficult to do again if the political and economic conditions demand it. You might be wondering, why not just do it now? People are struggling? And you're right. But again, it's not about what people need. It's about what the economic machine demands. It's frustrating, but that's the truth. Until a major trigger, like a deep recession, a sudden spike in unemployment, or a financial crisis occurs, Congress is unlikely to pass blanket direct payments. But the moment one of those things does happen, the pressure to stimulate the economy becomes undeniable. That's when checks get approved fast. So where does that leave us? For now, there's no official fourth stimulus check, but the situation remains fluid. If you're on a fixed income and hurting, you're not alone. And your voice matters, even if it's not being heard loud enough yet. History has shown that stimulus does happen under pressure, and we are watching the early signs of that pressure building again. Here's what you can do right now. Stay informed, avoid misinformation, and don't believe anyone who says checks are guaranteed next week, unless it comes directly from Congress or the Treasury. I'll continue monitoring all economic indicators, legislation, and official announcements, so you don't have to. If and when something real happens, you'll hear it here first, clearly, honestly, and without hype. To recap, those $1,400 payments in January 2025 were not new stimulus checks. They were unclaimed funds from a previous round. As of today, there is no approved fourth stimulus check, but the conditions that lead to one